Okay, so we're going to do a patient assessment here. And we're doing the this trauma assessment. So the scenario will be, you know, the person was thrown from a car, landed somehow like this perfectly in front of us on a table. But that's our scenario. So so gloves on, scene safe. Got the first 2 points. Third one is talking about is it a trauma or medical. So I'm identifying that this is a trauma patient, not because of the mechanism of injury. And so we're going to call for assistance. We're going to call for assistance. So we're going to call for an ambulance. We have one patient, and so we're going to have my partner hold the head and neck in a neutral, inline, stabilizing position. So the neck is being taken care of. I'm going to say, hey, are you okay? No response. I'm going to give her a pinch. No response. So she's unconscious and unresponsive. And that's going to be her chief complaint, being unresponsive. So we're going to check her airway. I'm going to open her airway. I'm not actually doing anything to open her airway, but I'm opening and checking her airway. It's open and clear, and so we're going to insert an oral airway in. That thing. Don't actually put that in any of your ears.
Yeah, it chokes you.
Yes. It will cause you to, yeah. Okay, so if you're unconscious, then we put that in. It would hold the tongue out of the way so we can let go and the airway's still open. So airway's good. Is she breathing? Yes. Is she breathing normally? Yes. So that's our 2 breathing questions. And so we're going to make sure we're going to cut away clothing, and we're going to look for any injuries. If we see broken ribs, the ribs moving differently, or if we see any like bullet holes, we'd have to take care of those right away. Those would compromise her breathing. And so don't see those injuries. And we're going to start her on a oxygen by non-rebreather mask, 15 liters per minute. Because for each breath she takes, she can get more oxygen, and she needs that because of the trauma that she's been in. So that's my airway breathing circulation. I'm going to check for a pulse. I'm going to pull back my glove and go skin to skin to see the condition of her skin. We'll say it's pale, cool, and clammy. That's what you'd be in if you're in shock. We're going to do a blood sweep. Blood sweep is me putting in my gloved hand and then looking at those gloves when they come out to see, is there a puddle of blood that isn't obvious. If she was bleeding on top, I might see it and be able to treat it right away. But if there's any major bleeding, we'd want to make sure to take care of that. And so we're looking for that. We don't see any. And then we're going to put a blanket on her to keep her warm. A, B, C, D. Decision. This is a high priority patient. This will always be a high priority patient for this scenario that we're doing. And so I'm going to have a partner get sample history from family members. I'm going to have another partner get blood pressure, pulse, and respirations, so vitals. And then I'm going to do head to toe. I'm going to be looking for injuries. So I'm checking her head, her scalp. I'm checking her ears to see if there's any drainage, checking her eyes, checking her nose, checking the bones here, her mouth, jaw, looking for any injuries there. I don't need to do anything on the front there, but I'm going to be looking to see if the trachea is in the middle, and also looking for jugular vein distension. So if you see those jugular veins standing out, I don't have to poke or anything. I'm just looking for that. I do need to feel along the back of her neck to see if I can feel along her cervical spine to see if there's any injuries there, any bones jutting out where they shouldn't be. For the chest, we cut away the clothing, and so we inspect it, but we're also going to palpate by just pressing down on the sternum and pressing in on the ribs to see if it's stable. And then we're going to put a stethoscope, and we're going to listen for breath sounds on either side. Can you find your belly button for me? Just point at your belly button.
Right here.
There you go. Okay, that's the center point. So just above that, I'm going to feel the abdomen, below, and above. That's the 4 quadrants of the abdomen that I'm feeling for. I'm going to push down on the hips, and then we'll verbalize that we're checking the genitals for pee or poop. And then I'm going to check down each leg. We can cut off the shoelaces and pull off her shoe, but then check for pulse behind the little knobby thing on there, and then have her push up, push down. Can you feel which toe I'm touching? She's unconscious, so she's not going to say anything. So, and so you'll have an evaluator who says pulse is present, no response, you know, whenever you ask questions. But they're giving you the feedback. Then you check down this leg to see if you can find any injuries, and then you check for a pulse, cut off the shoe if you need to, push up, push down, you feel which toe I'm touching, no response. I then come across the shoulder, but then go down the arm, again, checking for injuries, checking for a pulse. Can you squeeze my hand? No response. Can you feel which toe, which finger I'm touching? No response. So then go across the other one. Check for a pulse. Can you squeeze? Can you feel which finger I'm touching? And then before we would roll her onto a backboard, generally we would check this, but we're going to check the upper back and lower back for injuries. If we found any injuries, we would have had one of our partners treat it. And we're going to recheck her vitals and also the primary assessment every 5 minutes because she's an unstable patient.